right, what's up, guys? Here's Julius.
How's it going?
I'm excited about this because he's a powerlifter.
Yeah.
So you got some different perspective than my other guests so far.
Right.
So I want to start with your age.
Oh, 27.
And your weight.
I'm sitting at like 176 right now.
176. And how tall are you?
5'7".
5'7". Okay.
Yeah.
And then your body fat now, your body fat kind of where it stays at as a powerlifter.
About like 15 to 17%. I like to be a little bit leaner when I start going to prep, which is about like a 12-week prep period, and then I'll cut down probably towards like 12 to 13%.
Does that help?
Yeah. It does for me a lot because I realize that when I'm a little bit smaller, or at least my leverages get a lot better. So that's why
being leaner.
Yeah, being leaner.
Why is that?
I think it's just the way I deadlift. I'm a conventional deadlifter, so I have certain leverages, and when I engage lats and everything, I realize at a smaller weight I can tuck and get better, and I realize I lift more now at a smaller weight. Cause I actually, because I used to compete in powerlifting at 210 actually, and I walked around 211, 212.
Oh, so you're what, 210 pounds?
Yeah.
So what was your body fat then?
Must
have been a lot higher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was a lot bigger. Then it was more like 20%. But I was still a little bit leaner, but it was just a lot bulkier though. But I was like walk around like 211 or so, and it was I felt heavier. I just felt like even though I was bigger, I wasn't able to get right with certain lifts, with bench and deadlift. I just couldn't. Now I realize that this lighter weight, like everything moves a lot better, and I'm like, this is great.
It makes more sense.
Yeah.
Why a lot of these big guys carrying a lot of weight like these?
I think a lot of people just have the concept in their head that if you're heavier, you're going to lift more, and a lot of people try to pack it in. They're like, oh, well, if I can just, I need to hit these numbers, I need to be this weight instead of working on certain like technical parts of lifts or working with certain leverages or different kind of forms that can benefit you more
on weight.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting, huh? Give me your background. So how long you been training, where you started, and how you got into?
I was really an athlete for life, really. Come back from a military background. My mom was in the military, so as a young age, me and I have a younger brother, we really did sports our whole lives. We did our big thing when we were young was doing multiple sports to figure out what we liked. So we did baseball to soccer to football, and then when I learned football, that was my key. Like
football, American football. Right?
Yeah, American football.
Yeah, okay.
So I got really into football for a little bit. I got a little bit of hype going to high school. I had a little bit of D2, D3 recruitment, which was kind of cool. And I had a really bad knee injury actually.
Gotcha.
My knee folded on itself, so I was on the floor and I was looking at the bottom of my foot. It was really bad. I dislocated my shoulder. It was a really bad thing, and that kind of knocked me out. But that was my first kind of like little setback, and I was like, no, I need to get back on the saddle again.
Okay.
From there, I went into the military, and then that just kind of ingrained like my athletic kind of like competitiveness a little bit because they have those APFT tests where you physical fitness tests with everybody else. I'm like, well, I'm going to be the best at that.
So you're competitive.
Yeah, I'm a very competitive person. Yeah, that's it. So I did.
Like that.
Yeah, I did that. I was in
what military did you do?
I did National Guard for 6 years.
Okay.
I deployed once over to Kuwait. That was an experience. But that was a lot of fun, and that's where I got like a little competitiveness. When I got out in 2019. And that's when I kind of started, or a few years before that, I came back from my deployment, started in 2017, and I learned about powerlifting through my fiance actually. She was at the Dallas Air Force Base gym with a trainer, and they're like, yeah, you ever learn about powerlifting? I'm like,
is she in the military as well?
No, she was just working on the base as one of the shops. So she did the smoothie shop actually in there.
Okay.
So it's kind of cool. Like she would be able to make wraps and everything, and smoothies, and she kind of knew about that side, and then also was learning about the powerlifting side. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So I learned it from her. Yeah.
Did you, just going back to the military, is there anything you got from that helped you be more competitive?
Yeah.
Anything ingrained in you? Or what did you get from that?
They had a lot of cool health courses actually, and on top of that, like just how they ingrain kind of like competition within the ranks, and that also camaraderie kind of just upped it a little bit more.
Gotcha.
Like you're with those same people all the time, every day, all day, just training. So you're just like, all right, if we're going to do this all day, I want to be better than you.
You're around the high status of more competitive people, right?
Exactly, yeah.
What about as far as mindset? Like, I'm sure you got some mindset stuff out of military.
Yeah, a lot of discipline stuff, a lot of just my biggest takeaway, I think, was just learning that you can only control what you can control, and everything outside of that you kind of have to let go a little bit. So I know that I can.
What do you mean by that exactly?
Like
I know what you're getting at, but
yeah, I mean, I can plan out my training and everything. I can go in there, and there might be certain days where I can't lift certain things, or maybe things kind of fail off. I'm like, all right, cool, but we can reset, and I can go down to lower weight and work on whatever I'm deficient at, so that way next week we come back and go stronger. So I feel like so just resetting almost, and just like, all right, let's step back, reset, and then attack again. That's what my biggest lesson. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So your fiance got you into powerlifting.
Yeah, she got me into it.
Was she in it for a couple of years before you did, or were you kind of both dabbled in it?
So I was always just general lifting. I was going to like LVAC, just doing my regular stuff, and I was just like, all right, cool. I see that guy lifting 500 for squats. I'm gonna try to do 550 today. Like that was just me. Like that's like I'll make my own competitions in my head, and that's how I stayed motivated in the gym.
So you're competing with yourself.
Yeah, it's competing with myself.
And the guy on the treadmill next to you.
Yeah, exactly. It would be what I don't care what it was. Like, oh, that guy's doing sit-ups. Well, I guess I'm gonna go over and do. Like, I'll just find it for the day, and that's how I figured out my workout. I love that. And
do you work for yourself or not?
No, I don't work for myself.
You need to start working for yourself. If you got that competitive nature, you need to start working for yourself.
It does work for work too. I work as a IT, so I'm a system administrator. So I work on troubleshooting large issues. So I take a lot of pride. I'm the one that's the best at what I do.
Gotcha. So you are problem solving at work.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it's all
that's a very entrepreneurial spirit. I love that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So when she showed me powerlifting, and then I started following people on Instagram, I saw like, oh, there's other people that are at like my weight that are pushing weight. I'm like, now I can put new goals. Like I can see someone at 185 deadlifting like 650 pounds. But all right, cool. That's my next goal, and then I'm gonna overtake him, and then find the next goal. So
you know that 4-minute mile, Robert Bannister?
No.
Do you know about that? So like nobody could run the mile in under 4 minutes, and then Rob Bannister did it. Next week, 21 people did it.
See, it's
the same mindset, right?
Exactly.
You're given permission by seeing other people do it. So I didn't know that was possible. Now I know it's possible. Now I know I can do it. That's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, the 4-minute mile is exactly what you're talking about.
Because like I'm sure like when you're in the weight room, especially with sports and everything like that, you see other people pushing weight and everything, and you're like, all right, that's cool. But like once you're around like really strong people, that's when it really opens the door. So me and my fiance started learning more about it, and we went to a gym called Lift Factory here in Vegas.
Okay.
And we met Michael Marino down there, and he's a really great guy. I've known him now since like 2016, so we've 6 years now.
Okay.
And he's really big in the powerlifting scene, and he started coaching my fiance, and then he just kind of took us along with him in his powerlifting career. So we got to lift with a lot of big people. I have a friend named Dan Grigsby, who I lifted back in 2017. He just pulled like 10,074 pounds at a recent meet for deadlifts. Yeah. So like I started getting into like learning about all these strong people, meeting them. I'm like, all right, cool. These are just more and more goals for me. So
environment, like
exactly
making you push harder.
Yeah, exactly. So I just like I remember like a lot of people I feel like get scared about powerlifting because they see these big numbers. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna set a standard, and every single time I hit the platform or do a meet, I'm gonna beat that previous standard, and that's my mentality in it. Yeah.
Talk to me about, so obviously you do powerlifting. Talk to me about your training. How often do you train, and how do you kind of structure your training? What do you kind of do?
So before I used to do my own, like I try to create a program based off like how other people. I would go on Reddit and I would go on like just across the internet and learn how other people train and try to incorporate that for myself. A few years ago, I started getting a coach finally, and now my coach regiments my training.
Was that game changer for you?
A huge game changer.
I would recommend that to other people?
I would recommend that for anybody who just wants to do general training that has a goal to find a trainer or someone like that knows that space. Like,
specializes that
space. Exactly, specializes. So I was, at first I had a coach named Kevin. He was a really great local guy who got me along the way. We did some meets out in California. We won. He actually helped me get the state record for 210 at squat, which I think was like 562. I think still holds for Nevada. So it was a great time.
Ridiculous amount of weight.
Yeah, no, it was. I felt it was a great time. Yeah. So from there, I moved on to another guy named T. He's a really big bodybuilder. He competed at 275. Really big guy. He was a really great help because he also did nutrition, so I can learn about macros and stuff like that on the other side.
Awesome.
And now I work with Micah, who I mentioned originally. He does my training. So right now we aim for 5 days a week. I have a really hectic work schedule.
When you say you do train with your fiance?
Yeah, I train my fiance.
She's your training
exactly.
partner.
So she gets
How cool is that?
Yeah, she gets coached by the same person too. So we're on the same program.
That's awesome. How does that help with your relationship? Does that make 100%. Your relationship like super strong?
Way easier because we train about 4 days a week, and our training is like 4 hours a day.
Was it really?
Yeah, we're in the gym for a long time because I'm working up to sets of like 3x2 at 500, so I have to really work up to that weight. And then I'm doing deadlifts the same day too, up to like 520. So then I have to like.
So you recommend having like a partner, a spouse who trains, who's necessarily don't have to go deadlifting a ridiculous amount of weight.
No, but like just having someone. Yeah, exactly. It makes it a lot easier. Like we're at the gym together. We do our meal preps together. Like we're all on the same page of all that.
Which is huge, right? The meal preps side.
It's huge. Our usually Sundays are all dedicated to meal preps for the weekend.
Is it really?
For the week, and then we're
What
good.
a romantic day.
It's
well, you're with me on Sunday, so she's at home cooking for you.
Oh man, so no, but like we go to Albertsons. It's almost like a date down at Albertsons.
Oh, really?
All right, this is what we're getting today. Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
it's really helpful. It's made the difference in the world.
That's crazy. So how many days a week are you at the gym? 4?
We aim for 5. It ends up being 4 just because of work schedules and everything. Okay. But yeah, usually we aim for 4, and like those workouts are between 3 to 4 hours sometimes.
3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, just because when we work up to our weights, I'm revving up so much. I feel like I need to really get quality warm ups in.
Gotcha.
So it takes a while, and you need a little bit of rest period between.
How many exercises are you knocking out in a 3 to 4 hour workout?
So usually it's going to be like 2 or 3 main lifts. So I'll probably do like
more compound, right?
Yeah, more compound lifts. So I'll probably do something of deficit deadlifts or like a compound squat or a compound bench, and then I'm doing like 4 or 5 different accessory works based off that too. And then I have certain days that are just straight accessory work. Well, I'll have Saturdays where I just do.
What's accessory work?
I'll do nothing but like cable flies or just free weights. Nothing,
really?
Pretty much nothing with the barbell.
Why do you do that as a powerlifter?
There's certain for one, I like being a little bit leaner, and I also like doing the bodybuilding movements. I really enjoy that. That's still something that I like to do in the gym, and plus it helps me focus on certain areas that maybe I'm deficient in my lifts. Like one issue I have is I'm very explosive off the floor with my deadlifts, but I have a strong time finishing. So a lot of times I'll do a lot of back flies so I can work on my upper back, or I'll do upright row. Like I'll try to change it up so I can focus on certain areas to help improve myself.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like that's really important. A lot of people don't really do those things, but those things make the biggest difference in your lifts.
So you're saying like you're going through the deadlift motion, and at that top of the motion where you need that upright row motion.
Exactly.
You're strengthening that, and you're isolating and strengthening.
Exactly.
That's interesting. So you've been taught that, or is that just like
I've always done it?
Or is that like self-awareness, knowing how to break emotion down?
Both. Like if I ever had a coach that didn't give me those things, I would do them anyway because I know that those things benefit to it.
And they're definitely helping you.
Oh, they're 100%. Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I love it, and plus it still gives you that fatigue at the end of the day because I'm not doing reps at 10 or 12 anymore, so I'm not walking away leg day drained from my legs. Yeah. But those added to it. It gives me and pushes me a little bit too, where on the platform I might be getting stuck, but then when I'm doing my accessory work, I'm kind of pushing through that fatigue, and I'm making sure I'm growing from there too. So that helps.
Give me one exercise and how many sets and how your rep ranges work.
Oh,
just say a deadlift.
Yeah, like let's say for deadlifts, like recently I've been doing a lot of deficit deadlifts, so I have like a block of them on, like a good size block that I'm pulling from to make a bigger range of motion.
So you're standing on the block.
Yeah, I'm standing on the block. So I'll do something like if I'm going heavier, like 500 plus, I'll do those for reps of like maybe 4.
But what do you start with to warm up?
Oh man,
how many sets you doing?
So I like feeling the weight, so I do pretty big jumps. So I might start off at 135, but from there it's going from and we have kilo plates at our gym, so it's a little bit different. So we'll go from
I know kilos, don't worry.
Yeah. So we'll go from like 175, and I'll jump probably up to like 284 to like 365. So I'll probably do like if I'm going up to 500, there's probably 4 or 5 sets I'm doing right before
reps of 4 under 6.
I don't usually multiple rep like certain weights. Like if I hit 405, I'll do that for 2 or 3, and then jump up to like 500, and then I'll do that for 2 or 3, and then jump up to my working set of like whatever that is, a 520 to 600, and then I'll stay there. But I take pretty big jumps.
And then how big a rest in between sets?
I'm taking a good 5 minutes, 2 or 3. No, not 5. I'll say 2 to 3 minutes between sets.
Are you kind of measuring that out, or are you just going by the way you feel? And you find that
I try my best to actually measure it out. Like I'll sit down, I'll put in my clock real quick, I'll put a timer. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me try my best to keep underneath this time, because I don't like taking extended rest periods because I feel like that kind of just throws off my motion and my mindset a little bit. So I try my best to keep to it.
And this has been trial and error, obviously.
Exactly.
Is your fiance on the same type of page with her rest and the way she trains?
And she's like to talk and communicate in the gym a little bit. And we have a really tight gym group at our gym, and I love it. We have a really nice family, so she'll use that advantage to kind of like talk to friends and stuff like that, which is cool. I totally love everything. So she definitely takes longer rest periods, but it works because she's also doing like sets of maybe 2 sets of 1, for example, of her 99% of her max or something like that. So it works out because you definitely need those, because I feel like people rush too fast, and that's how you end up failing a lot of those training
probably injuries
reps.
too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Is there anyone who rests longer or shorter, or is that kind of the standard?
I think a lot of people end up resting a little bit longer. They take a little bit longer breaks and everything, but they want to also simulate like a meet. At a meet, you're having a whole flight of people do squats, and then a whole flight of people do bench, and then a whole.
So how big would the break be at the meet?
Usually, if you have like 45 lifters, the break can be a good 10 minutes or more. You know?
Really?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people try to do an extended rest period to kind of simulate that a little bit. Like, all right, cool. How do if I'm in a meet, how am I going to keep myself warm to be able to go?
How do you do that?
A lot of pacing. For me, I often practice my squat in my head off in a warm up room once I'm done, so I make sure that I'm
just going through the motion.
Exactly, just going through the motion of not even touching the weight or anything. I'm just in my head, just like, all right, cool, feet go. I go through my cues of like feet set, all right, knees set, all right, brace, and then I'll go through. I'm like, all right, cool, reset, and I'll just keep doing that in my head because repetition is the biggest thing.
Do you use compressions or anything like that as well?
I used to compete in wrapped squats actually, which is the wrapped knees. I only did it once. I'm not a big fan of that, but I understand people who do it. So now you just use compression sleeves. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah. A lot of martial arts I've done over the years, like throw a head kick, you don't throw another one for 15 minutes. You pull a adductor.
Yeah.
But I find compressions just keep you kind of regulated.
No.
Where you can just throw that head kick again 15 minutes later and you're okay.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with, like, I have to be really conscious because I still have knee issues with because of my injury. Like, I'll turn too fast.
I was gonna say,
yeah, if I turn too fast in the door, turn left, my kneecap will displace. So I have to be I have to be really careful with that. So it's
do you isolate your knee and do training specifically for your knee?
Yeah, I have to.
What do you do for that?
I went to a physical therapist for a while, so they gave me a lot of recommendation stuff that I do. I do a lot of like free weight stuff with my knee where I'm pretty much just testing range of motions. I'm doing like step ups. I'm doing single leg squats a lot of the time just to isolate my knee because it's unfortunately, just with the patella being so loose, I have to be really conscious of that. Because even on my squat, I can feel it. If I bust too far open, I can feel it pulling a little bit.
As you got 500 pounds.
Yeah, it's bad. Squats it's a whole mentality.
That's got to be a whole mind.
It is. I'm in my own, and that's why I feel bad. I'll go to the gym, and I'm in my whole own world when it comes to squats. Because squats is a different setback almost for me. But I like tackling through the wall every time. I'm like, all right, cool. I might be a little bit nervous now, but as soon as that weight goes up, it's money.
That's crazy. Have you seen the knees over toes guy?
Yeah, I know you're talking.
What do you think of him?
I don't. So like, I have a very narrow squat, and my knees tend to go over my toes pretty often too. So I feel like I'm a big proponent of every body is different.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody needs to practice with different kind of forms to be able to figure out what works best for them.
Okay.
I don't think there's one thing that works for everybody.
Okay.
I think there's definitely variations. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, but like I said, I think everything works for different people. Yeah.
Okay. This kind of leads me to my next question: is you ever lost your motivation?
Yeah,
and I'm guessing that's probably from an injury. And then, how'd you get it back?
That was my first one. That was rough because when I had my knee injury, I was on the couch for like 2 weeks.
Which is the worst thing in the world for people like us,
It
right?
is. Oh, it was worse. I mean, like my scholarship was ripped the next day. It wasn't.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. Also, that was part of it.
You had a scholarship.
Yeah, I had a D3 scholarship out to Vermont, and that was ripped away really quick.
Is it really just like that?
Yeah, just like that. They heard the knee injury and how bad it was, and I tore my O-ring in my shoulder, and they're like, that's just too much because I was too young to get surgery at the time too. They just want to kind of let it grow and go from there. So I'm like, all right,
that's gotta be hard, man.
Yeah, it was tough, but I mean, it was one of those things where like my mom actually helped me a lot there. Like, you just need, like, she's military background, so like you just have to get up and kick yourself in the butt and realize that there's another day, and you got to take that day on and take the day on after that. So that's what I did, and I walked into a recruiter's office with crutches, and I was like, hey, I don't know what we got to do to pass a physical, but I'll do it, and let's get it done. And that's what I did. And 2 months later, I went to MEPS, which is their medical processing center, and I passed, luckily.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Didn't Dwayne Johnson get injured?
Yeah,
same type of story.
Yeah, same kind of story.
And if he continued his football career, he wouldn't be Dwayne Johnson.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
You never know, do you?
Yeah.
It's kind of what you make of it.
Exactly. You got to make out of the situation. You're like, I'm going to grow from this. Yeah.
But at the time, it's probably going to be the worst thing in the world.
It was. I mean, that was a big one. I had another one in 2019 where there was some racial issues going on with the federation I was competing in.
Racial issues?
Yeah, a little bit. And
really?
We started a petition a little bit to, kind of raise awareness. And I got a lot of hate for that, actually. And I got banned from that federation from competing anymore. And that was another really big, and I didn't touch a barbell for like a year and a half in 2019.
How did that come about? Like, what was going on?
So there was some owners. So in powerlifting, you have meet directors that are usually gym owners that put on meets, and they get people in there, and they're ones that facilitate and everything. And there were some meet directors that were doing some racial profiling and not allowing people to compete and saying and like really scaring people off with their comments on things. So I brought that up and like,
is that because they know like
I think
there's some serious competition?
And my coach,
in the end, like black guys are athletic as hell.
It is a little bit. That's how I felt, and my coach felt the same way as well. And he stopped competing for that same reason because he was an all-time world record holder. And he's like, there's a lot of times they wouldn't let me go to meets because of who I was, and I was like, that's crazy. So I brought that up and I talked to a lot of people like, hey, this is something that's happening, like let's talk about it. And a lot of people came up and told me it was too. So we created a petition. And we just wanted to raise awareness so we can get someone like maybe on a board to kind of moderate those things. And I got a lot of hate for that.
Yeah, I bet you
Yeah,
did.
I got
But
banned.
you probably got a lot of support.
A lot of support. Yeah, a lot of support
from the right people too,
right?
Right.
But I'm sure you know too. Like the one negative voice will always sound louder than the 100 positive voices. You know what I mean?
It's like the bad review.
Yeah, the bad review. So
reviews.
it was tough. Like I had a lot of support from the federation, and then they flipped script, and they're like, "Hey, you're banned from the sport from us. You can't compete with us. You can't go to the meets." And I was like, "This is crazy."
There's probably only so many places you can compete. Right?
Exactly. There's not many gyms I go to in Vegas, unfortunately, because of that situation.
Same reason.
Yeah, same reason. It was a really big thing.
It's so messed up, dude.
It was, and
so messed up.
And that's why I was like, all right, if you guys don't want me to compete, then I'll just sit in the house all day. So it was a year and a half where I didn't. And that's when I was at 210, and that year and a half I didn't touch a barbell, and I dropped down to like 175.
At any sport we watch on TV.
Yeah,
it's like it. Dude,
so it was tough, but like
being Australian, man, I don't see this stuff.
Yeah,
because we don't have the African American like you do here, and it's when I came to this country, it blows my mind some of the stuff you see in here.
Yeah, it was.
It's really bad.
It's and like it affects me personally because like I was in the military and I was in Georgia.
You served for the country, right?
Yeah, and the crazy part was I was in Georgia and I went to it was our last day in Georgia and I was with a friend of mine and we went down to a restaurant and we're both in uniform and they're like, hey, we can serve him but we can't serve you, and I was like, oh,
in military.
Yeah, I was in military. I was really confused. I was like, is it because we're military? He's like, no, we can serve him, but not you. And I was like, oh, it's because I'm black. That's crazy. Really? I didn't, and I got kicked out. I never got to eat there. I never had that happen to me.
In military uniform.
In military uniform.
Holy
like
crap.
I was like, yeah, I had like my decoration for graduating. It was like a whole thing, and I was like, that's crazy.
That's a story. If I didn't hear from you specifically, I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was.
And that might be me naive or not growing up here, but that blows my mind.
And I heard them as a kid, but until it happened to me, I'm like, oh, now it hits home.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah, it was that hit home a little bit for me, but like when all that happened, like you said, I had a lot of support too, and a lot of people reached out to me. They're like, hey, a lot of people were excited to see me lift, and I wasn't expecting that. I had a whole bunch of people follow me and they're like, hey, we followed you because of the petition, we want to see you lift again. Where's the lifting at? Where you at? Because I wasn't posting or anything for that time either, so I was like, oh man, I didn't know people were excited to see that. So when I came back and I was starting to post a little bit more, I had a lot of support. People were really genuinely excited, and I was like, this is great. This is a good feeling to know that wasn't just all negative. So that support made me really start going back to the gym. And now it's been a full year since that happened, and I'm loving the gym again. Like I'm actually having fun.
So it wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was pretty.
That probably would have made you train harder than ever. Too.
It does a little bit.
Dude, I'm going to show them
exactly. And then like they have their. It's funny because that federation. Like I'm a 181 pound powerlifter. I weigh like 176, so I fill out a little bit more now. And they have their 181ers that are like their prime guys. And I'm like, those prime guys can't touch me, so it makes it.
But even you look at Mr. Olympia, most of the guys are being black, right? Like Ronnie Coleman dominated.
Yeah,
he's dude.
And I was good friends with them. I knew all the meet directors. Like I'm a very personal person. If I'm in there, I want to be involved. I was giving back to the community. I knew the director. I knew the owner. Like me and the owner exchanged text messages all the time. So it was really tough to have someone that I thought like had my back and I supported a lot and promoted them for them to flip their back on me. I'm like, I'm not trying to call you guys out. I'm just trying to bring awareness because you guys don't know what's happening.
Well, I would take it as a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
I would say they're threatened by you and they've got. Like it was, I hate to say it, but if it's a white guy, it's a little bit harder to.
No,
and as much as I hate saying that, that's probably how they've gone about it.
Yeah.
So I would take that as a compliment. Hey, this guy's a huge threat. This guy is like coming up around the ranks, and we're gonna do what we can to kind of suppress him.
No, exactly. And the fact that they have so many lifters, and they have all, and it's funny because the owner will still mention me by name. I was like, if you then I'm in your head rent free, and that's fine with me.
Oh, dude. All right. Diet. What is a powerlifting diet like, and what is your diet like?
Yeah. So I used to count macros and stuff like that. We don't do that as much. We're very health conscious, so it's a lot of protein, of course, as you can probably assume, like anybody's diet.
Repair.
Yeah, exactly.
How much protein?
We don't measure out anymore. We do a lot of steak, however, though. So what we do now is to be more health conscious and kind of cut down on that part. Just because I'm not watching my weight anymore. I'm no longer 211, cutting down to like 198. I'm more like filling out now.
Okay.
So I can be a little bit leaner or a little bit looser on my
yeah,
a little bit. So it's a lot of steak. We do a lot of chicken. I'm actually I like grilling a lot. My fiance's dad was a grill master, so I learned from him.
Okay,
so nice. I can kind of switch it up a little bit. But
grilling's like the best way to have meat anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like so, even salmon grill is amazing.
Man, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do pork butts or pork shoulders and stuff like that to get a little bit of that. So
I've never had a pork shoulder.
Oh man, I'll have to do it for you sometime.
Yeah, I'll be down for that.
Oh yeah. To be honest with you, I like just for the steak, we'll do briskets sometimes just so we have that little bit of difference. So I mean, it's a lot of just switching up the proteins with different kind of sides that we're able to do. A lot of salads and stuff like that as well. We eat about 4 times a day, like kind of like medium-sized meals. About
it's only 4 times.
Yeah, so nothing too crazy. I used to be like real big on eating like 6 times a day, where I'll eat like 2 small meals in the morning, some hard-boiled eggs, and then try to do like that.
Yeah.
But that was back when I was heavier, and I just don't have that need to be like that.
And you realize there's more to life than just eating, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the hard.
I've been there
man,
too.
And I feel bad because I feel like a lot of people are always telling me like, eat, and it's always tough because people almost like hate eating at a point. So.
I would eat. I would never eat for pleasure. Mm-hmm. And people always like make fun of me how quick I eat now. It's because I used to force feed myself 6 to 8, 12 meals a day.
That was
so it doesn't touch the side. I'm like, I eat like a dog.
And I feel like it's my fiance that helped me with that because I'm very plain Jane. I'll do chicken and rice.
When I'll put it down, right?
Man, when I was overseas, like I couldn't cook my own food, so I had a chicken salad sandwich for breakfast, lunch, and dinner like every day for like 6 months. Because I'm just like, all right, if I can't do anything, then I'll just stick to one thing, and I'll just eat really fast, and then I'm heading straight to the gym.
Yeah. It's just fuel at that point.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm just like I just need fuel and then go. So I get that. So she's helped out a lot. Where she's really creative and she's really good cook too.
Okay.
So she helps out a lot of the sides.
So you got a winner right there.
Yeah, right? It's like I said, it was.
You got a training partner and a chef. That's perfect.
Bliss. Yeah.
Do you eat a lot of carbohydrates? If so, what type?
Yeah.
I'm guessing you probably have a lot of good fats too.
Yeah, a lot of good fats. We'll do a lot of rice, of course, and stuff like that. A lot of potatoes and stuff. Try to get those ways in. And then from there, like I let her take care of the sides for the most part, but we try to keep it very balanced. We try our best.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to maybe at one point, I'm right at a level now where I feel like I'm getting into an elite kind of like level category for powerlifting. That once I kind of escape that threshold, I'm like, all right, cool, let's start dialing the nutrition again now.
Okay.
And then we're exactly.
Take a little bit more serious.
I'm taking like steps by steps. Okay. Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
And just overall, how important do you think diet is? Just for general population.
It makes and breaks people. It does, because your diet will affect your mood. It will affect how you go to the gym. Will affect your recovery. I think it's like the most important part. It really is.
If you're trying to lose weight, like to me, you can't out-train a bad diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying like you need to make your diet the priority.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like most people just don't get that.
They don't. And I feel like diet also helps with your not priorities, but how your schedule works too a little bit. Where like, all right, cool. If you prioritize your diet, now you're going out getting a salad instead of going out to like the fast food restaurant, and now you're just deploying your body at that point. You know, so it's like. It's key. It really is, and that changes your habits, and that changes your schedule, and that really, I feel like, incentivizes people to go to the gym even more because you're doing that other part.
And you're creating some type of structure, right?
Exactly.
Structure of your diet, which allow structure is everything. I'm sure you agree with that, right?
Yeah.
To succeed in anything, I feel like you need consistent structure.
Yeah, consistency. Yeah, exactly.
Do you cheat? You have some splurges here and there. How does that work for you?
Saturdays and Fridays are like our splurge like dates. So like Friday we'll usually try to get something that we like, and the Saturday's like our date day. So that's when we kind of like splurge. And then outside of
what's the splurging?
Sushi's definitely a splurge.
Dude, it's my favorite food by far.
Man, sushi is a splurge.
But sushi isn't really bad. I just eat fish and rice.
Exactly.
I don't have the rolls.
And that's why like when you hear people say about it, I'm like, it's a splurge, but it's not really.
It's pretty damn healthy splurge. Yeah, you could have gone a lot worse than that.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Or something like, or trying something new, because Vegas is so nice with all different food spots.
There's a lot of good food around
Exactly.
here.
So we'll try to find a new like Chinese spot or pho spot or something like. So we'll go out there and splurge by like find different restaurants.
You go out of your way to go do something.
Exactly. Like we feel like we cook so much that we should kind of like treat ourselves by going out. And,
gotcha. And do you find you really appreciate what you're having because you restrict yourself 90% of the time from it?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I find people eat junk all the time. They don't appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you I don't know, when you have ice cream for the first time in 2 weeks,
yes.
It's the best damn ice cream I've had.
Man, it really makes a difference when you have to, like, when you restrict something. Because when you get it, you almost value it a little bit more, and you almost, like, you don't just go through it real fast. You're like, oh, I can go get another one real quick. Like, no, this is lasting. This is all I got for, like, the week.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Do powerlifters do cardio? And if so, how important it is?
A lot of people make jokes about it that they don't, but a lot of them do. I still try to do cardio because I like being powerlifter is fun, but also having general fitness and having general mobility.
General health.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
I know I just can't just powerlift because when I'm a few years older and let's say my knees are getting even, like, I need to have those mobility and stuff. I'm not going out playing like and running like 5 miles every day. I hate running, but I'll definitely do. Yeah, but I love doing the bike, and I love doing sprints. I love doing sleds, to be honest with you. Like, and that makes me kind of like, it gets me back my mode of general fitness. And like, all right, I'm moving stuff again, and now I'm applying my powerlifting stuff a little bit to there. Like, now I can feel like my leg drive in the sled is a lot better.
How much weight can you move on a sled? I'm curious.
Oh,
because I just started doing sleds this year, and I love it. I can't move that much weight, but I'm sure you're moving ridiculous amount. Especially being a football player too.
Yeah, I love sleds, man, too. It's weird. Like, sleds put me into a whole different mentality almost.
How much weight are you moving?
I haven't done like a max where I've like just been pushing ridiculous amount because I really just love to explode. Like, I'll pop off with it and then explode through
Which
it.
is half the battle, is getting this damn thing moving, right?
Oh man, I love it. And the thing too about sleds is the whole like keeping your feet driving, and I feel like that teaches people to work through sets and work through, like, I think that's,
and even the way your focus is.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not counting every step.
Yeah. So I could easily.
How many plates would you put on there?
Oh, I could put 4 or 5 plates on a sled and push it. Like, I want to put more just to test it out. And I think I might have to do that this week. Like, you gave me that idea. I might just throw a bunch of plates on the sled and just throw it and push it. It's gonna be fun.
What I've been doing is, rather than using the handles, actually pushing down on the plate.
Oh, and just getting lower.
Yeah, getting lower. It's fun. You can't move as much weight, but it's like climbing a sandhill.
Yeah.
There's no room for rest.
I had one guy, he showed me with the sled starting there, but you start like almost in a frog position, so you almost have to explode there and then get your leg drive
to get
started.
It going.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I was like, I like variation like that too. I definitely like making things a little bit more difficult. Cause I feel like if you make it difficult, once you do it regular again, it's just that much easier.
Exactly right. 100%. Exactly.
Yeah.
The mistake I made was wearing the wrong shoes. They weren't tight enough, and I'm slipping out of my shoes.
Oh man.
And I'm like, I can move this, but my damn shoes are killing me, or I haven't got enough grip.
Well, I think that's a big thing too. Like, a lot of people don't realize that the equipment you use is really vital too in the gym. I see a lot of people, they'll come in the gym and they'll try to deadlift with like Nike trainers. I'm like, that works, but because of the arch and how the shoe's built, you can't deadlift properly. You want something flat and everything.
So talk to me about that. Why is it so important to have flat shoes? A lot of guys are using no shoes, right?
Yeah, a lot of people, because you want to be as flat as possible for deadlifts. You want to make sure you have the biggest point of contact on the ground so you can push
so
off.
Everything's like
exactly. Yeah,
and most people have got messed up feet, don't they?
Yeah, they have messed up feet. I got really lucky where my mom found out when I was young I had really flat feet, so I always bought wide shoes. So I never had like issues. So I got a little lucky there. But I've seen a lot of people, they'll try to use like the really narrow arch, like Asics or something like that in the gym, and you end up just conforming your feet, and you can't get a proper drive. So
gotcha.
I think when it comes to squats though, people use some people use the heels, some people use flats. I think that's based off people, everybody's different.
Like personal preference.
Yeah, I actually like flats a lot. I squat in heels now, but I like flats a lot. And I have a very low squat, so when I have heels, I feel like I'm pitched forward almost because of it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Question I kind of want to ask you specifically is, do you worry about injuries doing powerlifting? Like, I know you already got injuries, but I know a lot of guys that lift heavy end up young and having some permanent injuries. Does that worry you?
Yeah, it does a lot.
How do you how do you approach that? How do you get past that?
It's tough a lot of the times, especially having previous injuries, because I have I'll get in my head, I'll see the flashback of everything, and I'm like, all right, cool, we got to beat that out of my head now.
Have you ever done jiu-jitsu?
So it's funny, I tried to, and that's when because of my knee issues, I can't really too much. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I had a heel hook put on me, and my ankle got popped. Oh.
And the next time I rolled for probably the next 6 to 12 months, I just had this mental issue. Anyone near my feet, I was like, nah, I don't want to play this game. So that I can feel you going through the same thing.
It's funny. So I found out actually through the injury, what happened is that I have loose ligaments in both these knees, which cause patella to shift.
To move around.
Yeah, I had a smaller one when I was younger. I didn't realize what it was. I did martial arts, and I used to do fighting, and I used to travel and get invited out to tournaments. And that, once again, I was competitive as a kid. Yeah. Loved doing the fighting part. And I threw a side kick, and the guy actually shot me, and he came in on my knee on the inside, and it did kind of like dislocated, because any sideways pressure will pop it straight out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I feel that. So like every time I try to like, mess with people and throw a kick, I'm like, that comes back. I'm like, yeah, we're good.
It's like this mental barrier, right?
Yeah, it's tough. I feel like I have a really strong support system at my gym at Fight or Quit, and luckily they get me through a lot with hyping me and getting me through my squats. Because there's times where like I'm just like in my head, I'm like, we're just gonna go, and if it dumps, then it dumps, and then we'll move on to the next day. And that's really just how you have to approach it sometimes. Especially with bench, because I still have my injury from my shoulder that I'll have to get work done at some point. I have to just be very cautious. Everything's very technical when I lift. Everything's like I'm setting everything. I'm going through cues in my head. I adjust a lot, so I have to be very technical with my lifts so I can avoid my current injuries as well as not causing new ones.
Yeah, causing new ones.
Yeah.
What's the salts? Talk to me about the salts.
Oh, the smelling salts. Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the ammonia salts.
I see it on TikTok. What is the go with that?
So I don't know what actually comprises of the smelling salts, but they're pretty much, it's a huge rush of adrenaline. Like when you breathe it in, it shell shocks you almost, and it really gets you amped up. Yeah. A lot of sports use them. They just use them behind the scenes, so that way people don't really kind of see it. Like if you ever watch American football and you ever watch the sidelines, a lot of American football players use ammonia.
While they're off.
Yeah, while they're off on the sideline. It just kind of gets you amped up a little bit. If you never tried ammonia salts before, I would definitely like recommend, like just if you have it at your gym, to try it maybe on the side, because it's a different kind of feeling. It's hard to describe. It's almost like a big jolt of lightning through your body.
Really?
Yeah. Is
it bad for you? Is there consequences?
So I will say this: a lot of people overuse the smelling salt. So then it turns into a thing where like, all right, now they get more smelling salts.
Kind of like pre-workout. They can't train without.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
I love my coach Micah to death, but Micah's crazy with it. Where some people breathe in smelling salts, and from a distance you'll feel it, and you'll have the back way. I'm sure you've seen the videos. He's gotten to a point where he'll put the smelling salts close to his eye, and he'll feel it come through his eye, and it is the crazy. If you ever see that man lift, it is the craziest thing in the world. I'm like, what are you doing? But like that's the levels to it. Gotcha. So I think a lot of people, what happens is people become dependent on it, and they need that to hit every single lift. Exactly. Gotcha. And I'm like, I'll do it for meets, or if I have a really big PR that I'm doing, then that's a different story. Like
so you isn't when you're that top 10%.
Exactly.
You need that extra kick.
Exactly. That's the only time.
And that's probably, is that where you'd suggest using it? Too?
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And my first time trying it, I was at a meet, and I've never done it before, and it was my last squat. I was doing,
which is probably the perfect time for it.
It was a perfect time for it. No, sorry, it was my last deadlift, and I was doing 631 for my last deadlift, and I was like, all right, cool. And someone's like, have you ever tried smelling salts before? I'm like, I've never tried them. And in the video, you can see me like, all right, and I get shell shocked. I'm like, whoa, what is this? But it helped. But they're fun.
Did you lift the weight?
Yeah, I got it. Oh man,
Did you feel like you lifted it easier?
It felt amazing. It felt great.
I just got to squat this instead.
Yeah, I saw stars afterwards, but it felt great. But,
that's nuts.
Yeah, they're fun, honestly. They tend to be overused, I feel like sometimes, but if you use them right for like the last 10%, or maybe like for a really rough day and you just need to get through the last piece of that workout.
Like where pre-workout should be used.
Yeah, and
not like wake up, have pre-workout without even thinking about it.
Yeah, some people do that too. I'm not. I try my best not to take pre-workout for that same reason. Where like, if I go to a meet and I now I take my pre-workout, now I'm even amped on top of that. I try my best to do everything as bare minimum as possible.
I love that.
Yeah, when I squat, I try my best not to use use sleeves for my squats until I get really heavy.
Okay.
Because I want to feel everything. My whole goal was to push my body as far as it could at natural.
I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
I think it's. What is your opinion? Someone's looking to lose weight. What do you kind of suggest? How do people get healthier? How do people lose weight, in your opinion?
I think specializing, like I said, going to a specialized person that can be able to assist you with that, that's the biggest thing first. But on top of that, I think just taking that little bit of curiosity and just going out and just doing the research and just taking that step.
Easier, right?
Yeah, just taking that step. I feel like a lot of people don't want to do it because they do the research and like, oh, there's too much to do. I have to go find a gym. I have to go find. If you just take that first step, then all the other steps feel easier and more natural afterwards. I feel like
that's interesting.
Yeah, like I said, dieting is the biggest thing. But when you find someone and take that step that can be able to assist you with that, and at least get you going, and then you learn from them, and then do your own research, and then you just create those building blocks, and then guess what? Maybe you might not need that person anymore. Now you're doing your own thing, and now you're learning more on top of that. So I feel like that's the biggest thing, just finding someone so that way you can take that first step, so you can create your own fitness journey.
I like that. And you've mentioned a couple times having like a great fiance and having support around you. Do you feel like that is just as important too?
Yeah, it's just as important. Yeah,
I mean, having the spouse or the family or the people around you.
Yeah, because there's times there's times where I don't want to go to the gym and I'm down and I'm in a funk. It's like, no, we got to go. This is what it is. All that stuff already happened in the past. You can't control that, but you can control going to the gym and how your day goes from here on out. I'm like, no, yeah, you're right. And they'll go. And so it makes a huge difference. Yeah, and when you have other people that kind of rely on you,
And then you talked about like Sundays being meal prep. Like that's huge, right?
Yeah, it's
like
huge.
How many couples are out there meal prepping today?
Exactly.
Not many. But how many should be? Probably most of us.
Exactly, right? And then it's crazy too because people are like, oh, well, it's so expensive to meal prep. I'm like, it's way cheaper to meal prep than going out and buying something every day.
Healthy food's quite cheap.
Exactly.
I feel like it's just an excuse.
It is, yeah. And we going out and just doing the little bit of research Sunday morning, like, hey, let's find something. Let's find like a new recipe for us to go in and try, and we'll do that. Yeah. So I love it. It's 100% the biggest thing. It's been the support and having my fiance and having the people in the gym like push me every single day.
So you definitely suggest other people to kind of get that type.
Yeah, I think so. I think having a training partner is tough, and finding one is tough because I feel like people get reliant. Yeah, you might get reliant on somebody who like, all right, they don't go, then I'm not gonna go, and it shouldn't be that. It should always be like an additional factor to it.
I love that. I think that's a good way of saying that. Additional like bonus.
Exactly.
You're already doing it, and if they come, so be it.
Exactly.
But you're going no matter what.
Exactly. I'm going to the gym and like, oh, well, I'm going to like, all right, cool. Now I'm going to do the gym better than you. All right, now we're just going to up it a little bit more. So that's how I always like kind of see. I don't try to make everything a competition, but in my head, if I know I do, I'll push myself a little bit further.
I mean, it's healthy.
It is a healthy competition. Yeah, exactly.
All right. So in America, the top 3 killers are all diet related. So it's cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. Man. What do we do about it?
I think and my mom did a really good job with this. I think as a young age, we really have to, especially in this generation, because I feel like I'm the last generation that really does this, is introducing kids into doing the sports and being active and promoting an active lifestyle from a young age instead of trying to teach them at 14, when 14 of the years of their lives, they've been just inside watching TV.
And they've had bad habits, right?
Yeah, and had those bad habits. Like going out there and showing them like, hey, you can have fun just going to the basketball court, or you can have fun having like a little skate ramp here and just saying like that 2 hour a day outside and just being active and doing things. I feel like that's the biggest thing. And then on top of that, it's with being active, kids tend to want to eat more and everything because you're going out doing things, and then just teaching them like, all right, cool, now you're hungry, this is how you eat properly after you got done doing exercise. Now like, all right, we just ate, let's go get ice cream real quick. You know what I mean? So I think like all that goes hand in hand, and it starts building those building blocks. So when you get older, like those people like, all right, well now I'm on my own, I know how I'm supposed to eat, or I know how I'm supposed to exercise.
It's interesting. Like I was only allowed to play video games for an hour a day. And it really sucked because I was playing a game and I always get to the end and I have to turn it off right before I finish the game. And it was the most frustrating thing, but here I'm the most active person still today. I was allowed half an hour of TV in the morning, half an hour of TV at night after school, and that was kicked outside. But I was fine with that. And I think those little habits have been instilled in me the rest of my life.
It has been 100%. Like we would do our sporting stuff and whatever, and then my mom gave us an hour to watch wrestling from like 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and then that was our TV time. Like, all right, cool, now you guys are off to bed. Like that's but earning that, like, all right, we didn't. It almost felt like we had to earn it too by going outside and doing those activities.
I like that, earning it. You can have your video games, you can have your TV, but you need a. All right, so look at this. I got an 8-year-old daughter, and I kind of look at it the same way with when she has junk food. If you eat the healthy food, you can have the popsicle afterwards.
100%,
you're not going to get it all day every day, but if you eat healthy food, I don't mind you having it. But I'm not going to give it to you 90% of the time. It's like 10%. So you're talking the same type of thing.
Exact same thing. We used to do this thing where we had a water limit where you had to drink so much water before you got any kind of juice or flavored thing. And I know it sounds extreme a little bit.
Were you just guzzling water?
There was. But as I got older too, I'm just like, all right, cool. I might have that juice, but I'm drinking this water first before I get that juice. Like I'll put it to the side.
If you drink all that water, you probably don't want that juice at the end.
And that's what ends up happening. And that's what that's why I think is how that worked too. Is like, and then it sits there for days. Like, oh man, I forgot it was even there.
And that's the crazy thing of weight loss. If you eat healthy food, especially vegetables and things, you stop craving the bad food. You start feeling full. You start feeling like your blood sugar stays very regulated. You're not getting these ups and downs.
Yes.
And you could have that junk food or that cake in the fridge, and you don't want it because you've put something else. You prioritize something else first.
Exactly, right. And you feel a little bit better about it too, like you said. Yeah, and and you restrict it a little bit, so you might have that small piece. Like, all right, cool. That small piece was enough, or whatever, and you don't have to worry.
Yeah, you don't have the whole thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so interesting, man.
Yeah.
My last question: longevity. What do you kind of think is the secret to longevity, in your opinion?
Consistency. And recognizing what you need to work on while you're at the gym. I feel like a lot of people just kind of like, not ego lift, but they just want to go in, they'll hit a big bench and like, all right, cool, that moved all right, let's move on to the next day. Instead of like, all right, cool, maybe I can get a little bit more leg drive out of my bench, or maybe I can go ahead and work on maybe some shoulder mobility, so that way we can get that sorted out. So I think consistency and just kind of always trying to fix the little things will always end up having a longer career, instead of always just attacking the same thing, going at it the same exact way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what about just overall health, like just living longer, being healthier, having a better quality life? What do you think's key there?
It goes back to the structure and consistency. Staying consistent on your structure, building that out, making sure that you have a good regimen in place, you have good balance. I feel like people don't need to be super hyper focused on one thing, but as long as you have a good balance of everything, I feel like that by itself goes a long way.
Gotcha.
And then once you have that good balance and structure, you can kind of just build a foundation on top of that.
So balance on what exactly?
Balance on just like, so going from work life to home to gym to eating, just making sure we have a healthy balance where you're not maybe overindulging with fast food and you keep pulling that back because we're eating healthier, because we're also going to the gym a little bit more. Like all that, I feel like it's a scale where
it's like
you have
catch-22 positive or negative.
Exactly, it is.
It can go one way or the other.
Right,
and we've both been there, right?
Yeah, but that's the best part is I feel like everybody's different, and it's a scale that everyone needs to like kind of slide the slider to where it fits best. And as close to the middle as you can get it, I feel like it's positive, but everyone slides a little bit close to the left or the right. But keeping as balanced as possible, I feel like goes a long way.
I like to split my life kind of family, fitness, finance, fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my balance. I got a friend who's like family, fitness, finance, fun, and then spiritual or his religion.
Okay,
and that's the way he does it.
Yeah.
But for me, like I find like kicking butt in business, but my health is suffering. My health is good, but I'm not spending as much time with my family.
Exactly.
I feel like it's very important to try to always, like you said, slide that scale so you get that nice even balance.
Yeah, and I like the scale thing too, because I feel like everyone's life changes too, and your priorities might change. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And that's what allows that slider to kind of go back and forth. Where like as things change and priorities change, things get slid in a little bit. Like my next competition's in October, and once we get a little bit closer, probably towards the end of August or middle of August, all that training slide is going to go
90%.
up. Yeah, exactly.
90%.
Exactly. But then we both on the same page. Like, all right, cool. We have 12 weeks of 90%, and then it might turn back down to like maybe like 60% or 50% on the off season.
So you're getting selfish. Your focus is like the sliders are on.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But I like that. Like once you start getting to that zone, there's nothing better than that, and everything starts to move, and you're like, all right, great. But
hit that goal and then back off.
Exactly. But you can't stay like that 24/7 because that's when other things start falling off. So it's cool to make sure you adjust it to where you need it to be.
Just lastly, I wanted to ask you, goal setting. How do you kind of tackle that?
I do a lot of small goals. And
I'm sure you got a lot of goals.
Yeah,
right?
I do. It's all about steps for me. I'm
sure you know your goals right now. If I asked you one of your goals, you probably have a goal off the top of your head.
100%. Yes.
Gotcha. So just having goals in the first place is huge.
Exactly.
And that can be with your family, that can be with your training, that can be with financial. And then, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but then you're talking about small steps, right?
Yeah, so just like, I feel like a lot of people make these big gaps in goals, and then they feel like they get deterred because they're not reaching that goal. Yeah. But really, I'll create like an end goal, and then I'll create steps for me to get to that end goal. All those are just check boxes for me. Like, one of my big goals right now is to get back to a 650 deadlift, and I'm knocking on the door really, and I'm excited. So I'm like, all right, cool. Today we're going to the gym and we're doing this rep for this amount of weight. That's the first check box. And next week we're going to do it again, and then next check box.
Gotcha.
And then I know in my head as we go through and everything, we'll get to the end goal. But that consistency of me doing all my check boxes will get me there
in a realistic time period.
Exactly,
right?
In a realistic time period.
So why aren't you hitting that now? What happened?
I was.
I'm just curious. As a powerlifter, if you hit this how do you stay there, or how do you keep going forward?
It's tough. Like it's all about just attacking your nervous system and trying to and load it with more weight and trying to just. It's really just an attack head on mentality a lot of the time. Then I was 30 pounds heavier, so I was able to.
Gotcha.
So that was the other part.
That was a big part.
But also the part of it too. Like, well, I'm now moving weight there at 30 pounds lighter feels great also too. So it's tough because there's always gonna be weeks where your strength dips and your strength increases. But that's the other part too, just knowing that those dips are all part of the journey. That's all it is.
Okay.
It's all a part of it, and that's what writes the book. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you so much, man.
No, thanks for having me.
Dude, that was amazing.
No,
thank
perfect.
you for your time.